Hello, folks, and welcome back to Chris Wyatt Reports. In an interview with City Press, South African millionaire businessman and leader of the ActionSA political party, Herman Mashaba, discussed race and its role in South African politics.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that since Simonstown and Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa.
Mashaba expressed frustration with the racial divisions perpetrated by some political parties, particularly the African National Congress. Now, that's fascinating, especially given Herman Mashaba's avalanche of accusatory and insulting tweets on X directed at white South Africans over the past few months. Now, he is correct about political parties using race to divide South Africans. However, the problem is not simply the ANC, but also the African Transformation Movement, the Economic Freedom Fighters, and the Umkhonto we Sizwe Party when it comes to racial division. I'm curious why he didn't mention any of them as well. In November and December, Mashaba posted a series of racially charged anti-white tweets, basically accusing all white South Africans of complicity in apartheid, even though the majority of white South Africans have grown up exclusively under African National Congress tyranny, not the National Party. The majority of white South Africans were born after the end of apartheid. Now, his tweets predictably angered many South Africans, especially minority whites. As a leader of ActionSA, his comments on Twitter reflect on the party as well as himself. In that City Press interview, he said, "This country has been divided along racial lines for too long. It's time for us to move beyond race and focus on the issues that affect every South African, regardless of their background." Agreed, 100%, finished in clar. Except, it's not the case at all. If he really feels this way, why all the hateful December tweets against whites? We were led to believe that ActionSA is a multiracial party that has no interest in race. And all the members of ActionSA whom I've met and interviewed and those I followed around on election day seem to be of that opinion. It's about the issues, not about dividing people by race. Unfortunately, Herman Mashaba's tweets in December have made a lot of people scratch their head and wonder what's going on. Now, perhaps someone just successfully pushed his buttons and he descended into a predictable Twitter rabbit hole. If so, someone should take his phone away, just like they did to Donald Trump. Now, Mashaba argued that while race was important in understanding historical injustices, it should not be used as a political tool to divide people, if only. And to that point specifically, most of his comments were from a historical standpoint, but they laid the veneer of blame and guilt onto South Africans who weren't even alive during that era, which was unfair and really made a lot of people question what Herman Mashaba is up to. Now, he also emphasized the need for unity across South African society, irrespective of race, and his belief that a united opposition could bring real political change. Well, I'm not convinced there's enough people for an opposition for real change. The ANC is imploding. It'll have to fall further, and then maybe something will come out of it. Now, that was a fair point on his part, but it's difficult to do when government and the legacy media are actively dividing South Africans and discriminating based on race. Look at the latest racist nonsense from Parks Towel, dictating that private businesses fund blacks-only businesses with 3% of their after-tax profits. Paying taxes to enrich your competition? Can it get more Orwellian and racist than that? I'm sorry, Mr. Mashaba, how is it that South Africans are supposed to reconcile and unite when racist legislation like this is in place? To steal money from private corporations to fund blacks-only businesses. I mean, that's insane. That's not even passable on any level. I would like to see some ActionSA opposition to that racist position that Parks Towel has come out with. Now, he said that ActionSA's appeal to voters transcended racial lines, focusing instead on service delivery, accountability, and community development. Perhaps, but his recent tweets did a lot of harm to that proclaimed racial blindness. He said, "I've always believed that the future of South Africa lies in unity. The day we move beyond our racial divides is the day we will see true progress." But you can't help but wonder how genuine this comment is, given his recent racially tinged rants on X. To be fair, he may have been set off and was reacting on an emotional, a visceral level in reply, but he kept pouring kerosene on that fire. If you go onto his Twitter account today, the avalanche of recent posts over the past 4 or 5 days is just insane. One post after another promoting the mayor of Tshwane and all the good things that ActionSA is doing. Fine, but it would appear that he's building up neutral positions, promoting the conduct of his party, which is good, so that the other tweets lose relevance. The avalanche of recent posts goes on for pages and pages. Is that an effort to push down posts that he was ashamed of? I don't know. What's going on? Do we have Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Mashaba? Who are we getting here? In his heart of hearts, is Herman Mashaba racially neutral? I don't know. Perhaps he is, and maybe he just got down a rabbit hole. Let's give him time and see. You decide, South Africa. Will this work for you? Cheers.